Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I believe it's about time. It's 2 p.m. here, so it is time to start this webinar. So as you probably know by now, so the goal of this webinar of today is to actually cover Tableau's latest features that were released in the 2020.1 version. I have with me Silvana in the background from the marketing team, who essentially will make sure that everything goes smoothly and manage, any questions that we'll have during the course of this webinar, and that we'll try to answer by the end of it. I also have Cordelia with me, who is one of our consultant and Tableau experts here at Mydral, and finally myself, so Julien, who runs the UK business for Mydral. So, getting back to the agenda for today, so as mentioned, the agenda for today is to discuss all the latest new features for each of Tableau product line. So as you probably know by now, there's Tableau Desktop, Tableau Prep, and of course, Tableau Server or Tableau Online. The idea is to make this webinar a bit more interactive. We've selected 4 features that we or our customer got the most excited about or using the most, and we're going to demo them. And of course, to add to this interactivity, you're going to be able to ask any questions you might have, and we'll try to answer. By the end of this webinar. But before we get into the heart of this webinar, just want to share a few words on Mydral, just to tell you a bit more about us and who we are. And essentially, Mydral is a consulting business. We are specialized in data and business intelligence. Our mission from the start is to help you leverage your data to create value, monetize that data, and ultimately help you make better decisions. So that's all we are about. Mydral's been in business for over 12 years now. So if we move to the next slide. So Mydral's been in business for over 12 years now. So we amassed a huge amount of expertise and experience in helping our customer. You can see some example of some of the customer we've worked with in the past. And as you can see, they're represent a wide range of businesses, from Fortune 500s to SMBs and across a number of various industries. We have today over 60 consultants with various profiles, various expertise. They run from data and business analysts to architecture specialists and data scientists. And the idea here is to cover all aspects of our business needs around data, whether it's technical or business oriented. So we've got expertise, as I was mentioning, expertise on a number of solutions and technology. But to focus on Tableau, which is the topic of today, we've been a gold partner since 2008. So really from the start of Tableau in Europe. And once again, we've helped a number of companies, regardless of their industries, regardless of their size and departments. The next slide, which is an illustration that I like, which represents the value life cycle of data. And this is often how we present our company. And the idea here is whether it's you, your customer, your partner, you are most likely that person on the right of this illustration. And you're asking yourself some key questions about your business. They can be about sales, which product is the most profitable, about marketing, around understanding your customer's behavior, human resources, from understanding where you source your talents, and so on and so on. And the thing here is, to answer these questions, you're going to use your data. And this data will go through various stages, from collecting it, cleaning it, transforming it, essentially what we call data transformation. You can even add some more advanced functionalities with, for instance, data science. So we're talking machine learning, algorithm, and so forth. And finally, because not everyone consumes data in the same way, there's a whole need around visualization. And even though we often say that this accounts for approximately 20% of the data lifecycle, with maybe 80% being data preparation, it is critical if you want people to take data-driven decision. So to help with that, to help with the data visualization aspect of things, we've created different approach to presenting data, from the more classic dashboarding or reporting to storytelling, to also what we've created and calling data journalism. And so I want to talk about. I just want to take a quick say a quick note about data journalism because it's been very popular among our customers, and we're actually thinking of doing another webinar on the subject. So that would be great if you could let us know if this is something you would be interested in. But essentially, data journalism it's a way of structuring the analysis with graphics and formatting, which allow the reader to understand complex data story at first glance, and then, and only after that, use interactivity to drill down and go and get more detailed information if needed, depending on what they see and if they like the overall story. And you can easily imagine how this can be popular when we're talking about projects targeting C-level executive that maybe don't have as much time, or even customer-facing kind of presentation or communication, where formatting and graphics is quite important. So that is it about Mydral. I'm going to pass it on to Cordelia now for the rest of the webinar and tell you a bit more about those new features of Tableau 2020.1. Cordelia, it is up to you.
Thank you, Julien. So hi, everybody. So let's start with Tableau Desktop. There are three fundamental new functionalities in terms of connectivity. The Impeller connector is now native on Tableau Desktop, which allows you to get a direct connection to Cloud Impeller. This connector is also available on Tableau Server and Tableau Online. The two others are more about performance improvement oriented. For Salesforce, there was work done on the API in order to modify the connection and enhance the connectivity performance. For Snowflake, which is a major player in terms of cloud storage and a Mydral partner, there was a lot of work and modification of connection and the security in order to get to an OAuth authentication. One important thing that has evolved in the 2020.1 version is the license management. It is now possible to centralize licenses on the server. Now, let's say when a Tableau Desktop user has installed the softwares and opens it, he will only have to fill in the server's address, his login and password, and automatically a created token will be given to him, allowing him to have a Tableau created license. So now no need to send the license key to the user anymore. The authentication is now fully automatic. In terms of graphs creation, there is a new button, Explain Data. It already existed in the 2019 version, but it has been greatly enhanced. The idea is that now you can at any moment on a graphic or on a dashboard realize a right click and get an Explain Data menu where Tableau is explaining all the information it has on these data, crisscrossing between data, the data source, where they're coming from, the possible modification done, and even statistics on the data. The Explain Data button, is mainly used to know where the data comes from and to explain how the data is being used. Moving to the buffer by distance calculation. So I will talk about the buffer new feature a little more later, since it is part of the live demonstration I will perform at the end of this webinar. But for starters, the buffer by distance calculation is an additional functionality in terms of spatial representation. The goal here is to create a buffer area around a point in order to detect phenomena. For example, let's say I'm checking if all around my settlement points, there are competitors. Another example, I'm a bank and I'm wondering if my clients are massively gathered around my settlement points where the different banks I have are settled. Well, I'll talk about it a little more at the end in the demo. It is now possible to customize Tableau Desktop. As you can see on the right of the screen, I was able to personalize the Discover pane with Mydral websites over here. I created a direct link between Tableau Desktop and resources we had. Among other things, our partners, Tableau, Gnome, and Snowflake I was talking about earlier. So you get the idea. You can now personalize your platform, but you can also put some tutorials you have on your intranet and make them available to your users when they open Tableau Desktop so they don't get really lost. Let's talk now about calculations. It was a huge wait. Tableau had announced it a long time ago, and it is now available. Dynamic parameters. Now, when Tableau is open, the parameter is able to update automatically its values. For instance, if you have new dates or new client numbers, from now on, if you publish on Tableau Server or Tableau Online, you won't have to modify and update manually the parent and then publish again. The parameter will do it automatically when it supplies with the data field. We'll talk about it a bit more in the live demonstration later. Tableau is still working on improving the data exports. For instance, PowerPoint exports was released a couple versions ago. Today, in the 2020.1 version, there is a user experience improvement that has been created. There is now a new Tableau object, a button called Export, that allows the user to realize exports from a dashboard. These exports can be PowerPoint, PDF, or image exports, where you will get the entire dashboard in it. This is an easier way to export directly from your dashboards. Sometimes you wish you could have these animations to analyze your data, right? Well, guess what? Your wish has become true. Now you can have these animations in Tableau, like you can see on the right. I have to admit this is from time to time a bit gimmick, but I will show you later how to use it. But remember, the viz animation catches a user's eye, and it gets its importance to better understand how data evolves. For instance, you have an histogram where you can see a top 10 of your salespersons. You will be able to see how every salesperson evolves in time. Let's say you have one that is in second place 1 month, let's say in March, and in April, well, he's going down to the third place. Using these animations will push the data analysis a bit further. So, enough for Tableau Desktop new functionalities. Let's talk about Tableau Prep Builder. Well, we will find some similarities, such as centralized logging-based license management on the server, which is exactly the same system used in Tableau Desktop with the token. The possibility to enhance communication between Tableau Prep and initial SQL. For example, you can get the Tableau Server user or the Tableau Server user full, and these will allow you to filter automatically the data source in regard to the usernames, his first name, and the application he's working on. That's all about the strong interactions between SQL and Tableau native functions. You may already have worked with level of detailed calculations in Tableau Desktop. Even if the calculation is your data analysis, they're a bit complex to write. You have to open brace, write fix, add the dimensions, colon, aggregation, the measure value you want to aggregate, and finally end the LOD calculation by a closing brace. Phew, that's a tough one. Indeed, the syntax is sometimes a bit complex, but today you will see that in Tableau Prep Builder, you have a new assistant, and he helps you to create a fixed LOD in a few clicks. I will show you how later in the live demonstration. What about the new functionalities on Tableau Server and Tableau Online? Of course, a lot of new features are stemmed from Tableau Desktop, since all new functionalities on Tableau Desktop are dragged onto the server. For example, the Impact connector, as well as the Salesforce and the Snowflake ones, are integrated on Tableau Server. It is the same concerning the login-based license management. It is on your Tableau Server or Tableau Online, and this is where you will install it and configure it. And you would have all the tokens that can be declared so your users can get their Tableau licenses. Of course, the Explain Data button is directly available when you visualize all your dashboards from on a web format on Tableau Server or Tableau Online. The Explain Data is really now a native functionality on both Tableau Server and Tableau Online. You can use it directly on the web interface. Have you already used it? It sometimes really helps. For instance, you can get an aggregated value you didn't expect. And using the Explain Data button will help you understand why you got this value and not the one you expected. So doing it will push you to create a new sheet, to dig into the different dimensions, to better understand your data and why you got this final value and not the one you expected. For the buffer by distance calculation, we also have here an inheritance functionality from Tableau Desktop, and it is also possible to use it directly in Tableau Server. As for the dynamic parameters, for now on, when you publish your graphs or dashboards on Tableau Server or online, parameters will automatically update the values available in the field they are linked on, and that's thanks for the inheritance from Tableau Desktop. Of course, the export part is also added, since the goal was to let Explorer users export easily the visualization. So the export button is available to export in a PowerPoint, PDF, or image format, even on Tableau Server and Tableau Online. These animations are also inherited from Tableau Desktop and is available to use. Well, enough for the inheriting functionalities. Let's talk more about the functionalities that are very specific to the server. For example, the possibility to manage and set permission for nested projects. You know that in the 2019 version, you can manage projects and sub-projects. In the 2020.1 version, the permissions management has been improved in order to control separately the permissions and thus the security in nested projects. As for the connectors, new ones have been added. You know that a creator or Explorer license user can create dashboard directly on Tableau Server or Tableau Online. The thing here is that you will be able to connect all your data directly from the web interface. In the Tableau catalog, there are new connectors that have been added, such as BigQuery, Google Sheets, Cloud File, and you can also get information on your data with the Tableau data management, such as the data lineage, which allows you to get to know the data you are using, how it was modified, how it was enriched from the original data source, and where it is used in a dashboard. And all of this allows you to certify data sources and even filter data in regard to the users that are connected to the data source. Another Tableau Server feature is the possibility to create external file store for Tableau Server. You can create a folder in which users can store distant files and from where they can use them in Tableau. Let's say that every morning, users have to store a new version of a file. Or another example, and they have to store a new version of a file because it's about the change rate and the change rate has changed. The idea here is to be able to centralize data sources, distant file folders that Tableau Server can use. It's a win-win for Tableau Server and for the user that want to get access to the same data Tableau uses. Now that you have an external folder, allowed users are able to create graphs and dashboards from these external assets. Let's imagine that a user drops an Excel file in an external folder. Tableau Server is able to read it and to use it, and the user would be able to create on the web interface data analysis and dashboards with the data provided in the external folder. As for the cartographic improvements, Tableau is working hard to add new background maps and map layers. Even in the map menu in Tableau Server, there are improvements. And thanks to the new partnerships, more contents are available in terms of point of interest on maps. These are to improve all the geospatial and geomarketing data analysis, in addition to the buffer by distance calculation I will show you in a few moments. Have you ever used the page button in Tableau Desktop? The Pages button is the one that is just above the filters in Tableau Desktop. Until now, the Pages button was not available in Tableau Server when you published your dashboard. It was not available either on Tableau Public, which is Tableau test platform. But now, on your own environment and on the cloud, you will be able to publish dashboard with a play button. It will allow you to set some sort of animations and improve your storytelling capacities. For example, we have on the right of the presentation an analysis realized by the famous Hannah Rosling from 1950 to today. And thanks to the Pages option, which you can see over here, with the stop button and play buttons, we can see a point moving and its impact on civilizations. Now, this option is available on Tableau Server and Tableau Online. Last but not least, some improvements have been made concerning allocation roles. The creator role, as well as the site administrator creator one, have made an arrival on Tableau Server. The idea here is to improve the security, role, and responsibility for all users. Today, the security improvements are only available on Tableau Server, especially concerning the site administration creator role. Since if you are hosting your own environment, you can have multi-sites on your server, but it's not quite possible in Tableau Online at the moment. So that's it for the new functionalities on Tableau Desktop, Tableau Prep Builder, Tableau Server, and Tableau Online. Let's move on to the live demonstration. So for the last part of this presentation, I'm going to focus on 4 of the functionalities I presented to you. So vis animation, dynamics parameter, buffer by distance calculation, and fixed LOD in prep. So let's start with vis animation. So you have here a dashboard of sales analysis and management of a company selling sports products, which is called SportUp. You have 3 graphs. The first one here lets you see the evolution of sales. The second one, which is missing, but we are going to create together, will show you the sales according to the salesperson. And finally, the map over here show you the sales according to the country. So let's create this graph missing. So I'm creating a new sheet. I'm renaming it sales according to salesperson. Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna need a total due, which is the sales. Using a combined field with the name and first name of our sales person, using show me to use a horizontal bar graph, and to make it a bit more easy to read, I'm going to sort the names according to total due. So I'm sorting them way descending. So we have here a top of our salesperson. Just in case, if I'm needing it, I'm going to use a city in filters. Use all, because I just want all my salesperson right now. But maybe later I would like maybe to filter on the city. And to make it a bit more colorful, I'm going to use the same field over here, with the name and first name of our sales person in colors. Finally, well, we can add in the analytics pane an average line from the table. So over here, we have for all countries, one bar representing the total due according to a salesperson, and each color represents a salesperson, and we have the average of total due. So far, so good. Okay. Let's go back to the dashboard and add the new sheet. Floating up. So I'm going to get rid of the legend and filter for now. Hide title and resize my graph. So let's move it in an entire view. Okay, to create this animation, I'm going to go in the format menu over here and get in the animation menu here. You can see that all animation on the dashboards are set on off. So to make sure it works for my graph, I'm going to set it on. Over here, I have a couple of options I can modify. For instance, duration, where I can modify it from 0.3 seconds, which is really fast, maybe too fast, and up to 2 seconds, which is really slow. So let's say I'm taking a duration of 1 second over here. I'm closing the pane, and over here on the curve, I'm going to, let's say, select some points. And you can see, moving. You can see that there was an animation for the second graph over here. So we can see all the bars moving according to the different position of each salesperson. So, for example, we have Julien Carson in June 2016, which was who was first according to the sales she's made. Let's say in August 2016, Julien Carson is now second, and Lina Moreno is first. So the thing is here that this animation allows you to have more explicit and more dynamic visualization of sales according to salespersons. And with the map, a manager can orient hardworking on campaigns for different countries and speak with the right people. Let's move on the next one, the dynamic parameter. Okay. So here I have a new dashboard. It's on the same data source from SportUp we used just before. And this is another way to visualize sales analysis and management. So over here we have, according to the date, the sales evolution, according to the salesperson in 2019 and 2020, and the sales according to the country. You can see on the right top-handed corner, there is a parameter on the analysis date. So over here, we have sales between July 2017 and April 2020. Before the 2020.1 version, if we had a new date, we had to modify manually the parameters settings. So by going over here, edit parameter, and modify it and add it over here. Now, thanks to the 2020.1 version, the value of the parameter is automatically updated with the value it can take. So I'm going to close it. No, and I'm going to need this. So I'm going to modify the file, the Excel file used for the dashboard view. So it's exported. It's an Excel file. So we can see over here that we have all the dates, all lines, and the last date we have is the 19. Well, it's in April 2020. So what I know, we're not quite in May, but I'm going to falsify a bit my data over here. But I'm going to just copy and paste the same line and just add May. So over here, now we should have a new date. So saving it, closing, and opening back Tableau. So now, if we are going back to the parameter addition, we will see that there is a new date that has been added and will be May 2020 when he will end loading the data. Voilà. Okay, so going back to here, edit parameter, I can see here I have a new date, May 2020. And I had to be very careful before modifying the data source, just to be sure that my parameter is not on fixed over here, because if I do this, I will have to add it manually, but need to cross to check the when workbook opens and be sure that this is the right field that the parameter has to be sourced on. So this is great. So now I have May 2020 added in the analysis date. So using dynamic parameters is now much more easier than modifying manually like before. Let's move on the buffer by distance calculation. So here is a workbook which explains how to use the buffer. It allows you to create, the buffer allows you to create a limit like a catchment area around the point. So let's say we want to settle a new pub in London. So you have a map of London over here. And the questions are pretty simple. Well, the first ones. Where are our competitors? Where are the spots we can afford according to our budget? And with those two indications, where's the best spot where we should locate our new pub? So on this first map over here, all the gray spots represent a competitor pub. All the spots are coming from a data source called competitor locations. Moving on to the second map over here. On this second map, the stars represent all commercial opportunities. So where we could buy or loan a space to settle our pub, respecting our budget, of course. So we have 6 stars over here in different districts. And over here, and these spots are coming from a data source called target locations. So we have 2 data sources, 2 different data sources. On the third map, each star, so still the commercial opportunities, are surrounded by a buffer, the yellow circle over here. So let's see how the buffer is configured. So I'm going to the sheet, and over here, I'm using a collection called buffer target. So to create a buffer, I have to create a new calculated field. So I'm going to use the one already created over here, so buffer target. I'm editing it, and you can see now the calculation. So to create a buffer, I need to use the make point function with the longitude and latitude. And as for the options for the buffer function over here, I need the radial size and the distance unit. Here, you can see that p-join buffer size is a parameter over here. And so on the map, the buffer represents a 350 meters radial distance around each star. The map with the competitors had a data source which is different from the data sources from the second and third map with the potential pub locations. So now that we know where our competitors are and where we can't settle down, we are going to cross, so to join the two data sources in order to get one map with both informations. This is how we add information to our market research. This is the final result. We have the red dots, which represent the competitors in range, so in the buffer, and which are the potential competitors we can have if we settle in this area. And to analyze a bit the map, we can see that in the east, in the Ratcliffe district, in a radius of 350 meters, we only have 2 other pubs already settled down. When we have in the west, in the St. Giles district, for instance, we have much more of the pubs already settled down. So the aim here is to add to the market research informations to help taking a strategic decision, so where our pub can have more clients and have more incomes according to our pub geographical or spatial position. So of course, over here, it works for a pub, but it can also work for a company, a bank, even for warehouses. So now let's go in Tableau Prep Builder and look at our fixed level of detail. So moving to Tableau Prep. So over here, the data source is still the same data source we use for the sales analysis dashboards. It comes from the sports company. So we have over here 2 inputs. One is about the orders and the other one is about salespersons. So over here, I'm creating a left join between the 2 data sources to have just one data source. And so over here on the yellow one, I'm modifying a bit the information, casting and renaming. And over here, I need to create, well, the aim here is to know the total of our sales. So to know all the total of our sales, I need to create a calculated field called total sales, which multiplies the quantity sold by the total sales. So, okay. I'm just waiting for Tableau just to load the results. Here we are. So I have quantity over here, and I have unit price, which is the one I would need. Quantity multiplied by unit price will give me the total sales over here. So if I need to create the field, we have quantity multiplied by unit price. Now I want to create this the fixed slot, the fixed LOD, so this one. So just to make it with you, I'm going to remove it. So remove it from this one. And we're going to create it with you. So we can create a LOD by creating a new calculated field over here, custom calculation. But the thing is, if we are doing this, we're going to go into a complex syntax, and we don't want to go into a complex syntax which can be really time consuming. So in the create calculate field over here, I have the possibility to use the fixed LOD menu. Let's click on it. By clicking on it, I have a new assistant in blue, light blue. that will help me to create the fixed LOD I want to create, so I don't have to struggle writing the LOD with a complex syntax in a calculated field. So I want to know the total sales for each city. So I know I want to fix LOD. So I'm going to group by city over here. I can use an aggregation type. So over here, I'm going to use the basics one, sum, but you have a lot more aggregation types available. So sum, and I want to do a sum of total sales. Over here, I already have a previous realization of the result by city. I only need to validate over here by clicking on done. And let's say I want to know, for example, this one. We can see that if I'm selecting this value, Guangzhou, which is, I guess, in China, has been highlighted over here. In the table just below, we can see that we have only the data concerning Guangzhou, even if I have selected a fixed lot. So that's it for the buffer calculation. So this is really an easy way to create it. So this is all for the demonstration. I'm coming back on the presentation, and I'm going to let Silvana conclude.
Okay, thank you, Cordelia, for this presentation. So that's pretty much it for the new features. So we've got some time just to close out and a couple of questions. So the first question is regarding the animated viz. So is it possible to create a general animation?
Oh, thank you for your question. Yes, it is possible to create an animation for the whole workbook. And you can also personalize the animation at a graph level. So you can have the general animation, and then if you want to personalize and configure special animation for each graph, it's possible, yes.
Okay, so there is a second question regarding the buffer. Is it possible to extract any data for the buffer calculation?
Okay, so I would say that the buffer calculation is only possible from a data source containing spatial data. Like, for example, these data will allow you to create maps with points, like we said, like we saw just before. You can create lines and even polygons. If you can find all this possibility on a lot of open data portals, but really to create the buffer calculation, you really need spatial data, because you need to create a make point, use the make point function, which needs a latitude and longitude. So you really need those data.
Okay, thank you. So that's it for the questions. So if you have any other questions, you can ask these questions later on. So just to let you know, this session is recorded and available later on. So,
thank you, Cordelia. Thank you, Silvana. So, yeah, just before we all go about our day today, I just want to quickly share an initiative which you're seeing on the screen right now. It's an initiative that Mydral has launched to essentially help data people in this current situation while they're working at home and maybe lost access to some resources. So essentially, we are organizing every day from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. kind of a data doctor session where people can come and share their questions and problem with our consultants, and they will work hand in hand with you, hand in hand, virtually, with you to answer any, in solving any data related questions. So yeah, please let us know if that's of interest. You can just send us an email, send me an email directly to me, and we'll organize that free session. So yeah, so let me know if you want to participate. And once again, thank you for joining today, and have a great end of the day. Thank you.